All right, says we're being live streamed, so here we go. This is Kurt Van Anen, your host of the Mañana Nomás morning check-in, and today it's more like the daily check-in. It is late. Today was a big day. Thursdays in general tend to be pretty busy days for me. I have meetings with Lifter LMS folks. Love working with the team there. Creative, fun, energetic. There's a mastermind call that I help them out with. We work with other professionals building learning management sites and just really enjoy what I do, but it really does add to the day. And so I was thinking about today, and I was thinking, well, maybe I won't do a daily check-in. Maybe I'll just skip it. And then I was like, no, it's 8 o'clock at night, but part of this exercise, besides me talking to you, it's also like an accountability tool for myself. And so I want to stay positive, and I want to stay motivated. And I promised at the very beginning of all this that I wanted to be transparent in the journey, in the growth of Mañana Nomás and its entities. So, we have Mañana Nomás, and then we have, let me move my hand over here so you can see it, right? So we have Mañana Nomás, we've got the Challenge Connection, we've got the Power Sport Academy. Those are the two major products that Mañana Nomás has. And then, of course, Vaxpreneur is that latest project that launched a couple weeks ago. And I got mixed feedback on that. I got wow, that's a pretty gutsy thing to do, dude. You sure you want to grow a business based on vaccination layoffs? And the answer was yes. So I felt really, really compelled, not from a political standpoint. My whole mission with this is to not let it get too negative or too political. My thinking is, what are all these people going to do? That's all I just kept thinking about, is what are all these people going to do? There's so many people are going to lose their positions based on a multitude of reasons, but surrounding this COVID thing and our handling of the COVID thing. And so, Joe Biden was announced today that he's picked January 4th, as his emergency mandate to take effect January 4th. Well, you have to ask yourself, just common sense, if it was such an emergency, why would we wait until January 4th? But I digress. A lot of people are going to say no. A lot of people are going to look at that and go, I just don't want to do it. I'm looking at VAERS. I'm looking at what Robert Malone posts. I'm looking at data from other countries. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to I'm not going to take that risk for myself at this time with this experimental drug. And that shouldn't be crazy. More to the point is, I know a lot of people that took the vaccine, and I certainly don't wish ill on them. I'm not wishing for them to have an adverse effect or suffer some type of damage from it. No, the project is about meeting people where they're at. So right now, we've got a lot of people that are going to lose their jobs because they refuse to get vaccinated. And what's the next step for these folks? Folks that depended on having a career or a path that was going to last the next 20 to 25 years before they'd retire. And now they're looking at their plans and they're going, I don't know what to do next. And they feel alone and they feel lost and they feel betrayed. So when I started Vaxpreneur, I started from the standpoint of, what are all these people going to do? Meet the people where they're at. There's people that meet illegal aliens at the border with cases of fresh water and food and clean diapers and things like that. Do I agree with coming to the country illegally? Actually, no, I do not. But there's people that have it on their heart, whether they agree or disagree with those actions, the decisions that the people made. They recognize that those are people in trouble, people that could use help, and they provide help. And so whether or not you agree with accepting the vaccine or denying the vaccine, there's people on one side of that decision that right now are being adversely affected. Here's the thing. I don't know how much credence I put in all this other stuff about the vaccines. with the, what some people have said is going to be the adverse reactions to these things. But another 2 to 3 years, it could be the vaccinated that can no longer work, that can't leave the house, that are immunocompromised, that, there are things that can happen. And so when that happens, Vaxpreneur will also be there as a community and a resource for people on that side of the decision. So this isn't about politics. It's about helping people where they're at. For people that didn't anticipate being self-employed, for people that really didn't have a desire to be entrepreneurs, they're finding themselves having to search for a vertical revenue stream. They find themselves going, okay, I'm cruising along, boop, there's a stop. Now what? And a lot of them are reluctant entrepreneurs. They didn't have forethought. They didn't have the ability or the insight to dream over the last 4 or 5 years about, wow, if I could do anything in the world, what would I do? If I didn't have this job, what would I do? They didn't think like that because a lot of we're a worker nation, and a lot of people in the corporate world, in the corporate worldview, they get it done. They're not thinking that they're going to get let go. They're not thinking that their 401k is going to evaporate. They're not thinking that they're still going to have to pay their mortgage, even though they're not going to get unemployment. And so part of what Vaxpreneur is going to do is serve as a community to let people know that they're not alone, but to also serve as a resource. And what I've been thinking is, it can't be a resource that's like, hey, I want you to go to the 6th step in the sales funnel and click on this URL, grab this API code, and run to this automation over here in this third-party plugin. Because if I were to say that to someone that's brand new into business or working on the internet remotely, their head would explode. And so we did our first live session yesterday, and that live session was, if you think you have an idea that you'd like to pursue, this is a way to log the idea, track the idea, then let it sit and simmer for a few days, and then go back and review that idea and see if it's one that you want to develop or one that you want to delete, right? And then I kind of discussed, like, it's normal for an entrepreneur to have 8, 10, 12 different ideas. And so in order to keep yourself from getting splintered, it works best to make a digital place somewhere. I like OneNote, but make a digital place and list those things out, and then let it sit, let it simmer, go back to it, with a clean mind, and go, okay, which of these ideas are just boneheadedly crazy? Which of these ideas are viable? And then which ones out of these, out of the 3 that are left, that are viable, which ones can I picture myself doing for any length of time without burning out, exploding, going nuts, and then think about a revenue model. And then once something is discovered, then we can talk about naming it and, reserving your URL and building out a website to represent your product or service, and then moving forward. And so Vaxpreneur is different in that it's addressing people from the standpoint of, hey, what if you never did any of this before? How do you take the first steps? How do you get over the idea that you're all alone? How do you, find your tribe that is going to pat you on the back, and that you can also pat others on the back and motivate and just kind of help along? So anyway, that's how I see that, and that's how that is going. So we've got Mañana going, we've got the Challenge Connection, we've got the Power Sport Academy, and of course, Vaxpreneur. Vaxpreneur doesn't really have anything to sell right now. It's just out there so that it can start to develop a community and start to serve as a resource to a people group that I believe will have need. Now, once that people group is established and they begin to express needs, then we can look at filling those needs, and whether that be through an inner circle of professionals that network through Vaxpreneur as service providers, or whether I funnel that stuff through Mañana. I've yet to really get to that, be honest with you. But the other good news is that we are just we're running the crud out of our Black Friday specials. We're running a Black Friday special on both other companies the whole month. So the Power Sport Academy is having a 25% off sale, and the Challenge Connection is having a 25% off sale. And so super, super stoked to see people showing some interest in that, clicking the links, checking things out, adding themselves to the subscribers list. When I got email today from the system that said that we had new subscribers on Vaxpreneur, it kind of made my heart jump a little bit. And that's because, it's brand new. There's barely anybody in there. And when you start something new, you don't know, is this going to work or is this not going to work? People going to like it or not like it? And I think the messaging on Vaxpreneur is to be honest with you, and I pat myself on the back for this one, I think it's on the money. If we can stay out of the weeds and not dwell on the negativity, but instead look at opportunity, I think there is a pathway for community there based on optimism rather than, just kind of leveraging despair. I don't think that's the right way to go, right? I've been saying for the last 2 years now, almost every day, we need to find the opportunities within the obstacles. Well, this for me is an opportunity within the obstacle, and hopefully it becomes an opportunity within the obstacle for everybody that becomes a part of that community. So folks, that's it. Have yourselves a great night. I'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye.